Never wanna be talking on the phone at night. 6 p.m. which time zone tonight? I'm gonna worry where you are, going with. It's just a queen that isn't it. But hope tonight, I don't know where that is. Leave your bags in the car, keep it running. Won't pretend I don't want these things. Hold me back, I don't know where I is. I don't wanna know, no, I don't wanna know. See, I'm just sitting on some trouble somewhere down the line. It's kind of terrible to leave behind. And you don't know it yet, but you won't come back. And I ain't going nowhere when you're back. But tonight, I don't know where that is. Leave your bags in the car, keep it running. I won't pretend I don't want these things. Hold the man, I don't know where that is. You can go ahead and hate me, that's just fine. Doesn't matter either way, I'm right. Hold the man, I don't know where that is. Leave your bags in the car, keep it running. I won't pretend I'm just hold the man, I don't know where that is. Hold the man, I don't know where that is.
All right, man. So live, L-I-V-E, as some people say, man.
As some people say.
Some people say that, man. I hear it all the time, man.
Funny about that, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, man, gonna do some bagging and boarding. Larry's doing some lettering on Niobe in the background. Got Larry Higgins with me tonight, man. Creator of Niobe. You doing all right tonight, man?
I'm doing all right. You know, I did a little Chatting Dead earlier, and then I was playing a bit of Overwatch, and now I'm trying to do this thing that we call work. And I'm just playing around how it looks, you know, in the end, right? But this is part of the process of trying to see what does and doesn't work, you know.
Yeah, that freaking artwork looks amazing, man. Steve's outdid himself on that, man.
Sound effects wonky is what I'm working on right now. You know, this thing is getting shot, and he doesn't like it.
So yeah, so first off, man, I got to put some bags and boards. Man, do you guys bag and board ahead of time? Do you bag and board ahead of time?
What, before I read them?
Yeah, like, do you have, like, preset like bags and boards?
I mean, I usually have a small stack of bags and boards at the house. So when I get home with my comics, they go in the bags and boards right away, whether I read them or not. And that way, if it takes me a few weeks to get to them, at least they're not getting banged up or damaged sitting loose. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you do try to get ahead on your bags and boards?
Oh yeah, have to.
Well, I mean, I try, man, but as many comics as I read, it's really, really hard for me to get ahead on my bagging and boarding. I'm ahead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 bags and boards that I'm ahead on, and I've got this stack of comics to bag and board. So yeah, not quite. We already got a couple of people in the chat.
Oh,
so
I
that's
didn't
cool.
see that, motherfucker.
Looks like we got Comic Crank and Spectacular Spider Grandpa in the chat.
Oh
so
yeah,
that's cool.
What's going on, guys?
So yeah, first of this, man, I'm just gonna be going through and bagging and boarding. So what happened with Walking Dead chat earlier, man?
Nothing.
Was it a good episode this week?
It was solid. I mean, it was 90 minutes long, but
Really?
yeah.
What is
so
it,
you
episode 4?
Is episode 4, yeah.
And they're doing 90 minutes, man. That's wow.
But one would think that there'd be some big event or game changer, considering that they're giving the show an extra half hour. But we got nothing. Got nothing. What we got was Negan showing up to Alexandria for the first time since making his arrangement with Rick and basically looting them dries. The episode,
Huh.
I mean, there's obviously a little bit more to it than that, but if I was to sum it down in one sentence, that was the episode.
So I heard something though about like weapons or something. What's going on with
Well, Carl pulled a gun on a couple of Negan's men, and so Negan doesn't like that, so he wants to take all the weapons away from the citizens so that they will never think about doing something like that again.
Right, man. Yeah, for sure.
What are they all saying in the chat there?
I don't know. I'm trying to get my chat to where it's not shutting down on me every 30 seconds. Oh, I see why it's shutting down on me every 30 seconds. Okay. All right, rock and roll. Now we can freaking chat.
There we
yeah,
go.
it's on. Yeah, let's see, man. Spectacular Spider Grandpa says he's playing some Skyrim and listening to us. Yeah, man. Comic Crank says always good to catch a live show. So yeah.
Well, we can talk about Placid and Stasher for a minute, considering that Grandpa here is in the chat. They're doing a fantastic Santa Who contest, if anyone hasn't checked that out.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So basically, you answer 5 questions in video. Go over to their page to see that. But each of them are giving out a box of stuff for the winner. So
Cool.
that's like 5 boxes.
Yeah, that's something that I've really noticed in the last year or so, and that I find interesting is that, well, just having been on YouTube for a while,
Right.
The way that things have changed and the way that, like these live streams,
Right.
a year ago, there weren't any live streams. And now pretty much, everybody's doing live streams and everything, and just the gradual evolution of the way that different things happen, up until Simplify came along and started doing giveaways. There weren't crazy amounts of giveaways, and then Simplify comes along, and there's just a crazy amount of giveaways these days.
Yeah, a lot of contests, a lot of giveaways, a lot of people making content. I see, new channels popping up. I was gonna say all the time. It's not all the time, but frequent.
I just wish that more people would stick with it. This is my problem with people making content on YouTube, is that I wish that more people would stick with it, because I see a lot of people that have really, really good content that after 3 or 4 or 6 months, they just stop making videos.
Right.
And that really, really disappoints me, man. I've got what is Celia? What is her Twitter or her YouTube handle?
You mean Sia
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of content coming out from that channel.
Right.
And then really just, one day it just kind of stopped.
People get busy, especially her. She does a lot of work, obviously, for Aspen, and she does a lot of variant covers for Marvel. She's a busy woman. On top of that, you got to add in all the convention appearances that she's doing and private commissions that she's doing. It's a lot of work. And then add, making YouTube content on top of that and make it good content,
Crank, I don't exactly know how long that I've been on YouTube. I know that when I got on YouTube, you had 87 subscribers. So I know that you've been on longer than I have, probably by about 6-9 months, because I mean, Comic Crank for sure. I mean, that 2-3 years ago on YouTube, when you broke 100 subscribers, it was a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
Now it almost seems like 100 subscribers is kind of like just kind of the buy-in. For what's going on. I mean, anybody. I think when I started, there were probably about 150 people or so, 200 people, something like that were doing YouTube videos.
Right.
Having to do with comics. And now it seems like, based on the movies and everything, like there is probably 700, 800 people out there that may not do weekly videos or whatever, but are doing videos based upon either comic movies or comic books or, something along those lines. Which I think is cool. But like I say, man, I just don't like it that I see a lot of people that get on, man, and they have a really good reception. They have really, really good content. And then 6 months into things, just that's the last video you see from them. So this is for number 3 that you're lettering.
What you're looking at right there is the first page to number 3.
Really?
I'm going to show you and your viewers, the first 6 pages of the book. And so that is page number 1. I don't know how well that can be read, considering probably the resolution that we're being shown in and the size, and obviously people's size of their screens. But I got mine up on a big 40-inch TV, so it looks pretty clear to me. But that's the first page right there, and as we can see, what we have is some guys on a hunt, almost very much Predator Commando-like unit here, and they're tracking something. Apparently, they're close.
I love seeing the evolution of how this comic's come along. I like that with a lot of the Kickstarter projects.
Now, Wonky, before we go too far, I noticed that Steve is online. You mind if I bring him on in?
No, man. By all means, man, bring him in. I would really like to compliment him on how his artwork has. I thought that when he was talking about, it was taking him all this time to do pages.
Right.
That, he was just being lazy. But I can see now, looking at the freaking line work and everything on these pages, man, that I mean, man, he was putting in work.
Now I just got to figure out how to get Steven a link here, because you're the one that started the Hangout, so I don't know how to get a link.
Can you not go to the ad?
App. Remember, I'm on a computer here now.
I'm not really sure how to add him. Does he have a Twitter handle?
No, I'll take care of it.
All right.
It'll just take a couple minutes.
So we got Huey's Comics done come in.
Oh yeah.
And talking about, he heard a little birdie talking about what they got going on with their contesting over there, man. So yeah, we were shouting it out. I didn't realize that that got tweeted out to everybody, but and Blasted or Stash It over there, man. Anybody that doesn't check out Blasted or Stash It, man, you're really, missing out. Another thing, man, if you're not checking out Great Legends live auctions, and what's going on over there, there's just a lot of good things, man, right now going on in YouTube. People that have got ideas that a couple of years ago would have not gone over or would have kind of seemed silly, that really have an audience now.
I'm wondering, I know there's a way to get a link for this, even though I'm not the one that started it. But I just can't figure it out.
I can copy and send you the link on Twitter.
No, I got it. I got it.
Oh, you got it? All right. Say, I can copy and send it to you on Twitter, and then you can send it to him.
He doesn't even know I'm sending this to him. I'm just kind of inviting him in on the fly here.
Yeah, rock and roll. Yeah, I'm really impressed, man, with how much his art has really got so much more detail in the last couple of issues.
Oh, trust me, I push him a lot. So yeah, that's page 1. You want to see page 2?
I don't know if I can handle page 2, man.
All right. So there's some more dialogue going on between the commandos in page 2. And you can see one of the kids here, he's kind of a rookie, and he's like, so, hey, when are you going to say who we're going after? And then you have the tracker. He's like, it's not who, it's what,
So just for anybody that hasn't, checked out your channel, that's subscribed to me or whatever, can you give like a little bit of backstory on, what Niobe's about?
Oh boy, how much time do you got?
Man, I'm just saying, man. Just a little bit of backstory, because I mean, I've read the first couple of issues, and they were super good.
Thanks. I mean, I don't want to, most people that probably watch us would know, but I mean, for the odd person that doesn't, it's an independent comic book made in Moncton, New Brunswick, written by me, drawn by Steve Boyu, and cover art by who I think is one of the most fantastic artists going right now for beautiful covers is R.B. White. He's done a lot of work with Grimm Fairy Tales, that whole line, and he's had work featured in Heavy Metal magazine and other publications. So the three of us, we put out this book called Niobe, and Niobe in the core is a superhero book, but touches on a lot of social commentary and social issues. And not every issue, but we mix it in. Especially you saw that with issue 1, where we kind of tackled the whole teen suicide, teen bullying kind of issue that's going on out in the world today. We had an examination of that. Number 2, we kind of more looked at how to trust the government. Niobe's kind of being lied to by the people she trusts the most, or at least she thinks she's being lied to. Steve is having problems finding how to get to the Hangout.
Well, I saw that he came in the Hangout, but I never saw him actually join the Hangout.
Okay, so he might have I might have given him a link to watch the hangout. You're gonna have to send me an invite link to Twitter, and that's
Yeah,
all.
let me send you an invite link on Twitter, and then you can refer that to him. Oh my gosh, I got freaking Reader 1717 in my freaking live chat. The day has arrived, man. I have absolutely freaking arrived on this stuff.
I'm gonna have to like go to YouTube here and see the chat myself. See what's going on. For those listening in, I was just kind of lettering pages when my phone started buzzing like crazy. And this is the first time I had my phone on in probably months because I just use it pay as you go and free Wi-Fi. And but it was like basically ringing, and I'm like, shit, my phone doesn't ring. There's no time on it. And it was Wonky contacting me for a Google Hangout, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So my phone will ring now when people add me to Hangouts, which means I should be missing a lot less Hangouts.
So Steve's in here. Cool.
Steve, what's going on?
Hey.
Hey. So, everyone, Steve Boyu, he is the artist for Niobe. And Steve, what I've been doing here is just, we're doing a sneak preview of the first 6 pages.
Okay, cool.
And I want to tell you something, brother, that I didn't get a chance to tell you a couple hours ago because I was tied up. But you sent me page 5 and 6, right?
Yeah.
You know, inked and shaded.
Yeah.
Off the charts, man.
Thanks. I'm working on page 7, I think.
Yeah. Well, you
Man, that first page, man, that he showed a second ago, man, not saying that your art was, was bad before, but man, it is the evolution of like your line work and everything.
Yeah, now I know what you mean. With every issue.
Man, I mean, I understand probably that you get used to drawing something, you get used to drawing a character and a environment or whatever. But I mean, man, dude, that first page, man, was just freaking off the hook, dude.
Yeah, thanks. Well, each page I draw, I get better every time. So.
Yeah, for sure.
And then he's got me on his back. Let's change this. Let's change that. That's too dark.
Yeah, well, that's good because sometimes changing something makes the page look better.
Huey said,
who dictates page layouts? Like, is that something that Steve does, or is that something that you do a pre-script on what you want on the page?
well, I mean, the way it works is I write what's called a full script. So I'll tell Steve the number of panels that are on a page. I'll tell Steve what camera angle I want the shot to come from and what should be in said panel. Steve will then take that information and do the best he can with it. Some things get changed, which is cool. Some things, might be a little bit too much for a page, which has happened to us before, that I want it more on a page that really couldn't fit. So one page ended up turning into 2 pages. But for the most part, I lay it out in a script, and he takes that vision and runs with it.
Cool.
So when you admire a page, I got to take a certain amount of pride in that too, because that was the brainchild.
Well, I mean, I believe that any time that I read anything, that it's a collaborative effort.
Absolutely.
For everybody that was involved, putting that together. I mean, it's the writer, it's the artist, it's the letterer, and where the position is for the amount of stuff that can fit in a panel. You don't want to have huge lettering taking over great art that's on that page.
No, for sure. I'm reading the chat here. It's got me a little distracted for a second, and it's Huey's saying that he's the sexiest blasted and stashed panel member checking in. So he's still looking for those votes, people. If you don't know what I'm talking about, he's got a Facebook thing going on in their group page where you can vote for the sexiest blasted or stash it member. And I think it's like tied, like 3 or 4 votes each for Huey and Legend. So,
man, Legend's a sexy motherfucker, dude.
I hear you,
I
man.
ain't gonna lie, man. I'm not trying to be biased, man, but Legend's a good looking dude, man.
Sure, his wife appreciates. Spider-Gram, I just thought if anyone wanted to come hang out, Reader, like you said, 1717 in the house. So yeah, I mean,
I'm really happy she's in here, man.
oh, it's a she. I
That's
had
one
no
of the
idea.
people on YouTube, man, that I respect more than just about anybody else, man. If anybody watching my videos, I'm sure they know Reader, but I mean, she has got some really good positions on a lot of good subjects.
Well, if she's that cool, then Reader, guess what? I just gave you a sub. There you
Well,
go.
you should damn sure go sub her. I mean, anybody not sub to her should definitely go out. It's like I was saying a second ago, and you were saying, you know, people might not know Niobe or whatever, but yeah, I mean, it's all about, you know, maybe there's, you know, 20 or 30 people that sub to me that, you know, have never heard of Niobe.
There's tons of people that haven't heard about Niobe.
Well, I mean,
But that's all part of,
be
you know,
different because I mean, you guys are putting together a pretty cool comment. And I mean, it's that way with a lot of the Kickstarter projects that, you know, I mean, I think that's one thing that I really like about you doing your Rebel Comics is that there's a lot of Kickstarter projects out there that if people were just to check them out, they would really want to check it out.
well, a lot of people just don't know about Kickstarter too. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I assume that everyone knows what Kickstarter is. To me, it's just infeasible that people don't. But with that being said, you know, I'm in my local comic shop. I'm talking to people about Niobe, and then I start bringing up Kickstarter, and you'll see that those Simpson fish eyes look at me like they don't know what I'm talking about, and then I have to explain to them, you know, just exactly what Kickstarter is.
Well, you know, I mean, I started freaking touting people on Kickstarter probably like a year and a half ago. And, you know, not only did I have to explain Kickstarter, but just like the whole process of like finding something. And I mean, like you're always saying, you know, if you go on there and you do a search on, you know, comic books or whatever, you know, there's hundreds of people that are on there, you know, putting out freaking awesome stories.
Sure, a good example of that was last week, right, with J.R. Blanton and Casey and Colton Sorrells. You know, not only was I lucky enough to get J.R. on the show, but I was, you know, the guys from Tits joined in too. So there you had 3 indie creators just shooting the breeze, right?
Yeah, that was cool.
No, it was fantastic to have you know, all 3 of those guys, you know, on the show, and you learn a lot, especially from JR, who's been in the game for a little bit. You know, he really seems to have his shit down, and he's worked with some great people in the industry. You know, some big names. You know, like Mike DeBaffo, you know, taking part in his indie project. That's a coup, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, he did some awesome covers also.
No kidding, right? And Colette Turner, if you're not familiar with her, start Googling her artwork right now, because she's going to be an up-and-comer, and you're going to want to meet her at cons. You're going to want to get stuff signed by her, because I suspect that she's going to get a lot of work in the future. She's already starting to get a lot of work.
From the Badistical?
Not only just that, I mean, she's starting to be commissioned now by other companies to do work for them, not just her own thing. So keep up with her on Facebook, and you'll be in the loop for all that. What we're looking at here is page 3. And so they're still tracking, and the kid is questioning about just who and what it is, and they're saying that it's El Calgido, and he's like, "What? That's the myth, you know, that's told to kids." And the tracker's like, "I wish it were, kid, but he's real, and you should be scared, you know." And then they think they hear something, so they all get silent, and you know, you can see the tracker kind of putting his hand on his big ass machete, and he's like, he's sure of it, you know, that he's here, or he's really close. And then, bam, into page 4, which I just did today, Steve.
Oh, yeah, I like the sound effect. Pretty cool.
Big snap. You see the guy whip around with his gun, the commando, and it's a monkey hanging in the tree, and the guys, and there's some like us, Puerto Rican Spanish there. Basically, he's saying, "Holy shit," and he's like, "You had me. I thought my heart was gonna jump out of my chest." But as he's saying that, you see the tracker. He's still covering his mouth, like, you know what? The monkey's not our worry. The monkey leaps away, as animals do when they sense danger, and then bam. Check that out.
That came out nice.
That came out beautiful, brother.
Yeah, man, looks great.
So that's page 5. So this creature that they're chasing down finally, makes his appearance. And, these guys, they think they were hunting him the whole time. But in actuality, it was the creature stalking the commandos. And then we get into a fight. They start going at it. The creature starts whipping its chains around. And look at this chain shot here.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the page there.
Yeah, it separates the panel.
I mean, people complain about panel breaking in the 90s. I love it when, art breaks panels. I mean, you don't want to see it across every page. But when it looks good, and that looks good,
Yeah,
That looks amazing, dude.
It helps the page, not all the time, but.
And, I'm putting in the sound effects. I might change them up a little bit. Right now, they're basically, to me, placeholders until we get the rest of the book lettered. And then I can, tweak this to my liking. But, yeah, I mean, that's generally how the first 6 pages look. Now, Wonky, you read the first 2 issues. And so you kind of know the vibe of issue 1. And then, issue 2 was a lot centered on Niobe herself. Now you're probably looking at this going, fuck, I just seen the first 6 pages and no hint of the hero anywhere. Trust me, she comes in on this. And not only does she show up and get involved, but this is also the swimsuit issue. And there's going to be like 10 pages of pinup art of her in swimsuits, and plus the gorgeous covers, and in Steve's awesome back cover as well. So it's going to be a really good book, man. And we're going to go to print as soon as, we're like, all the pages are inked now. So Steve, he's just doing some tones, gray tones. And once those gray tones are done, once the gray tones are done and I finish lettering the pages, then we're off and running to the press,
Hey, everything's done. Just got to finish it.
Well, it's not done until we're finished.
Yeah, I know. But the hard part is done. Now we just have to like shade and letter.
The hardest part is done, yeah.
Yeah, penciling and inking. That's the hardest.
So there's a preview of the first 6 pages.
Man, that's awesome, dude.
And it's a big book. It's going to be at least 36 to 38 pages big. So, about the size of an annual.
Yeah.
No flimsy book by any means. Reader 1717 says, wow, thank you, Wonky. I am humbled by your kind words, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Like I say, I mean, she is literally one of my favorite people that I've ever met on here. So, yeah. I'm humbled by the fact that she's even in here.
I think we got some sort of fanboy reaction happening here.
So, did you guys actually read any comics this week?
Well, I mean, what I went over on my show on Thursday, I read most of those, which was Uncanny X-Men 15, Amplade number 9 and 10. I bought Oblivion number 1 from Action Lab. I bought Devi number 3, which I read last night. I bought a couple of Catwoman back issues, which I read last night. Trying to think, Betty and Veronica number 2. I actually picked that up and read it.
So, are you reading the Betty and Veronica?
I'm reading anything I buy. I'm going to read. Like if I'm going to buy something for the cover, which is what I did, I'm still going to read the story inside because I think it's kind of a waste not to.
Oh, for sure.
And so, yeah, I read it. And now it's packed away.
Well, I just want to go through my comics, man, that I picked up this week. And talk a little bit about it as I'm bagging and boarding here.
Sure.
But I picked up Forever's number 2. This is by this from Black Mask. Say written by Kurt Pyers, Eric Pfeiffer doing the art, Colin Bell doing the lettering. I'm at some point gonna have Kurt Pyers on to talk about this book because I really enjoy Kurt Pyers' writing. I've actually got a video, I think, that is just me fanboying over how much I love Kurt Pyers. But I really like the like kind of photorealism that is in this book from Eric Pfeiffer's art. And yeah, really good story going on there about these like 7 people that kind of made some kind of a deal with the devil in order to be famous. And now he's kind of come in to collect his due and kill them off one by one.
There's always a price to pay.
Yeah, man. You know, you can't be famous. You can't be young and pretty forever, you know.
No, and I know that.
Black number 2. Which this cover, man, kind of offends me. But yeah, number 2 was pretty good. It was a lot more intense than number 1 was. With the whole like clan people and everything that's going on.
Right.
The language in this book I really didn't appreciate, but you know, I kind of thought that it told a pretty decent story.
You know, it's funny you were talking about fanboying. You know, it's really weird when you actually get a fanboy to come up to you. I've only ever had it happen once, and it surprised the shit out of me. You know, that it was like a real legit fan. You know, considering that we're so small. But it happened to be Maverick Freelance at the time,